Hey guys. Okay, so I have a few things I want to talk about, and yeah, so I do some. Okay, first of all, I just wanted to say this is my main music and art channel. I do have another channel, Mommy Cast Reborns, on, and it's all one word, Mommy Cast Reborns, and I make dolls on that channel, and I do some music stuff on that channel. But I'm trying to grow this one because I have been taking more of an interest in music and art lately, and I just want to kind of give that some space because, like, the doll stuff is kind of fun. I can kind of show you a doll I've made. Maybe you could see a doll I've made, or you could check out that channel. I'll show you a doll I've made. Hold on. Ooh. So, this is one of them. But I've made many dolls, and that's how I started with YouTube. Is I'm an artist, and I started making dolls. But anyway, but as time went on, I started to want to do some other stuff as well. And on the other channel, I noticed people were just kind of like losing interest in anything that wasn't really doll related, even though I do sort of post things as well. Eventually, I would like to separate things completely, where that channel's just dolls and this channel is just music. So if I can get this one would be just music and art. So like crafts as well. We can do crafts. I'm okay with crafts. So arts and crafts, fine crafts, making instruments, music, whatever. All right. So somebody asked me, is this going to be your main, music channel? Yes. Thank you so much for coming by. You're so sweet. And yes, please subscribe. And I was asked about like my level of expertise or like what kind of lessons I've had. Well, right now I'm in lessons for trumpet, and I have learning differences. So I'm really extremely bright. Oh my gosh, I just had a flash of a dizzy spell. I just startled because I have a neurological condition. Sometimes it happens. All right. No big deal. We're good. Just comes and goes sometimes. Whew. Okay. So now I've lost my train of thought. That was really weird. Okay. So basically, I'm in lessons, but I'm struggling with them. And it's just really hard. Like, it's just not, the teacher I have doesn't understand, like, that I'm more of kind of a visual learner. And like, there's just some learning differences that I have, and it can be kind of hard for some people to teach me. So I've been kind of just dabbling with things on my own with using this app called Tomplay, mostly just teaching myself. With the flute, I have been playing since I was very young in 5th grade. However, my progress was not that as good as the other kids. And so my tone is good, but, that's why, if people are wondering, well, if you've been playing that long, you should be able to do a lot better. Yeah, but this is where we're at. So this is basically also a music appreciation channel as well. So we will talk about music stuff and appreciation for music and different things. So I now want to get into talking about, so that's just a little bit about me and my experience. So I do some instruments I dabble with for fun. I purchase inexpensive instruments when they go on sale on Amazon. So like, for instance, if something is used, but it really is brand new, just somebody may have used it for like a few weeks and didn't like it, the box is open or whatever, I will purchase that for rock bottom cheap price. And then I will go to the shop and get them to repad it or to adjust it, and then it will work like really good. And then from there, I'll dabble with it and see if it's an instrument I like. Okay. Like I've gotten my clarinet for like $45. And the other thing I do is I'll go to like Goodwill, shop Goodwill, and get instruments off of there if I want to, or I will make my own instruments if the instruments are too expensive for me to afford. I'll make my own cheaper ones and stuff like that. So I've made a number of instruments, and I guess I could show you some of them. I'm not going to show you all my instruments today, but like I have a djembe, and I am part of a African drumming circle that meets when it warms up in the spring. And yeah, I just like appreciate music. It's not, it's not really about being good or getting anywhere sometimes. Sometimes it's just about doing your very best and appreciating any strides that you make forward or any success you have. Of course, I do focus on getting better at it and stuff, but yeah. So I don't have a community wall on this, but I will start to like post other people's like music type stuff that is helpful when we get a community wall. Now, I do want to show you one project I'm working on right now and some projects that I have kind of worked on or am tinkering with still. So hold on. So, all right. So I made this. This is my harp. Now this is from I put this together. It's from a kit. All these things are from a kit. Under here is a hammered dulcimer that has a nautical theme that I made from an old kit from eBay. This one was from, I forget what the name of the company was. That was Backyard Music, and this is Grassroots. Okay, Grassroots. And this one's hard to keep in tune right now. I'm still... So we're still tinkering with it because I just put those strings on recent. And, it's a constant thing that you work on, I made this hurdy-gurdy, and this was, I think, one of my least favorite projects. I feel bad to say that, but it was very expensive to make, and it just does not sound good, and I'm having a hard time getting it to sound good. But basically I embellished the back with all this stuff here, and well, it's still a work in progress. It's definitely, I put these hinges on it. This one is from Nerdy Gurdies. And yeah, it was tough. These are all the tangents, and you've got, it doesn't sound good at all. I need to get some rosin. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to get it. I need more rosin, and I don't have... I maxed out on this project because I didn't realize it was going to cost so much in the hardware that you have to buy for it that I gave up. Yeah, it needs more rosin. So that's one thing that I'll have to work on later. But this one's, you can get it to make noise when you have rosin on it, but it doesn't sound good. I'm just letting you know it's the worst sound I've ever heard, really, frankly. So I'm still working on this one. I don't consider it really finished yet. I still have to, I was going to bring it, I brought it to like a shop to have the guy kind of look at it and try to figure it out for me. And he's going to probably fix it, but it costs a lot of money to get it tuned and stuff. And it's just like a pain in the butt. It's such a hard one. So this one I'm still tinkering with. And what I've learned is with musical instruments, when you build them, they're a work in progress. They're not like something that you just build and then it's finished and you're good. Like, I wish it was that case, because look, I mean, it's all put together, so in theory it should work. But it takes a while of tweaking it and trying to get it just so before it actually plays properly. And it's just really not much fun sometimes. I'm just going to be honest. So that one is one that I'm still tinkering with, basically. But I do enjoy these projects and stuff. It's kind of fun. Now this was an impulse buy. This right here is a cello from China, and is the cheapest cello I could find off of eBay. And frankly, it doesn't sound so great, and it basically I've been having a hard time looking at it because it's so ugly. So this is it, this blue color. And if you're like, why does this like not have stuff on it? Because I had an idea, and my idea was to strip it down and redo it, and that's the plan. So we are gonna, I like doing wood burning. That's one of the embellishments I like. I stencil things onto it from books that I like, that I color in, and then I wood burn, and like I'm planning on doing like flowers along here, along the purfling, and then I might have like, I don't know, something really pretty like that. And in the back I'll probably have like fairies or some scenery thing. And then I have some really pretty color, light purple stain. And my plan is to like do that with like a natural wood stain and that light purple. And then, because it's my choice, my creation, today we went to the dollar store and I got these, and I want to embellish these into the artwork on certain things, like maybe a few things on the tuning pegs, or like, I also have these Swarovski crystal things. And one thing that I want to do is put these on, embellish them on certain parts, okay, around. And I want it to look kind of shabby chic and like a showpiece. And then the bow that came with it was very unattractive. And I have some plastic Rust-Oleum. Well, not plastic. It's a Rust-Oleum, but it sticks to like plastic and different things. Well, it's a light purple color. And I was going to, the bow that came with it is junk, really. So my goal is to embellish the bow with different of these, like different of these Swarovski crystals, okay? And to also then go ahead and like cover the things that I don't want to paint, go outside, take the bow outside, spray it, and just like literally make a matching bow, and like, so it'll have like this beautiful bedazzled bow. And just, I'm not going too crazy with the crystals and stuff, but I derive my inspiration from Liberace because he had all these bedazzled things and bedazzled pianos and stuff like that. And it won't be that much. It will be very subtle, but like it will be subtle, but to me it's an art project, and it's, you know, I may upgrade. So here's the thing. I may upgrade the hardware. I don't know. Like the tailpiece, I might upgrade it if it improves the sound. The tuning pegs, I might upgrade it. You know, there's different things. Right now I am trying to get to the third when I get paid so that I can get a power sander, a detail one, a small detailing power sander, or sander. So it plugs into the wall and you sand it down. So that's the plan. For this project. So this project should take me probably about a month to do, or like 2 weeks or so, and it will no longer be an eyesore. And then I think when I see how pretty it is, I think I'll feel more like playing it. And I am considering budgeting out. If I want to take it seriously, I can upgrade and just get a new tailpiece and stuff like that. So if I feel like, oh, like I want to upgrade, blah, blah, blah. I am thinking of getting better strings. That's one thing I'm thinking of getting. I did get a better bow. So the bow that I'm going to use for like lessons and stuff is different than the bow that I'm actually bedazzling, because that one's just junk. It's just to look at, anything that I would necessarily use normally. And so yeah. So let's just talk about, is it worth it to buy an expensive you know, instruments? Well, I'm just going to pull out one instrument that I find is an inexpensive instrument, and we will kind of talk about it, whatever, like, yeah, what I think. So I've had people encourage me, you know, saying like, you know, you really should consider, okay, because I want to, right now, the instrument I really want to get more than anything else is an alto flute. I want to get one of those so much, it's ridiculous. And I saw one that I like on eBay for like $460 and stuff, but from China. And you know, I obviously can't like afford it right now. So I did reach out to the company and ask them if I reviewed it for them, would they give me a discount? And they said yes, but then I haven't heard from them since then. So yeah. So here's the deal. Right now we're in the midst of a major hike in prices for everything. Pandemic is really bad. There's always new variants. It's just really awful situation. So this is my, all right, that's my Jean Paul, but basically there's different brands of instruments like that people typically will be like, oh, those are your go-to, they're the good ones and stuff, and that's what I would, you know, that's the only thing I would play, blah blah blah. Okay, let's just talk about it. Okay. I just disagree with a lot of the advice that people expound upon to musicians who, you know, who are new, because you got to start somewhere, first of all. Second of all, you know, if you are able to purchase an instrument for a really affordable amount of money, okay, then it's like way better, because you can try it, and if you like it and you start to really get into it, then you can upgrade. But we all start somewhere. And to me, um, there's a few things I want to talk about that um, for when you're buying an inexpensive unbranded instrument from China, right? Or from anywhere really. Um, the first thing you ought to know, and I can't play this right now because it's 2:12 a.m. and I have upstairs neighbors. So, but the first thing that I want to say is that typically out of the box, right away, every single trumpet or flugelhorn I've ever gotten from an unbranded name or from, an off brand from Amazon or cheap brand. I've tried Easter, Medini, unbranded, Jean Paul or Jean Paul, which I don't know, maybe that's a more fancier one because actually, but it was an open box. So somebody had opened it and returned it to Amazon, so got it for cheaper. I also have a trumpet here that is a Kaiser. Okay, so one time I did purchase an instrument from a well-known company and it worked less well than an unbranded one. And sometimes that can happen. I've literally had a friend of mine who was in band and she was using an instrument that I encouraged her to buy because her regular instrument had broken and she had a scholarship and she couldn't afford to purchase a new one. So that was decent. So we looked for an open box and we found one because she couldn't get it in to repair it because they did not have time. They did not, they had so many people because it wasn't a soft repair. It was going to be really difficult. So she it worked for her. Was there a few things that weren't that comfortable or somebody turned to her one day and said, "Oh, wow, that sounds amazing. What saxophone is that? Where'd you get it?" And, that's the thing about it. Like, these are worth it. In my opinion, they are more than worth it. I love my cheap instruments. And I don't think they're still expensive, but I love my cheap instruments. I absolutely love this particular flugelhorn. It's unbranded. It's from DH Gate. It's a fun pink color, and it's just really a good practicing backup. There are some quality issues with some of them, and with other instruments, that you get that are the cheap ones. I would say this straight up. You really need to allocate funds towards getting a adjustment for that instrument. Okay, right out of the box. It is not going to be something, typically, do not expect to pick it up and play it out of the box without leaks, without this, without that. No. You might have to have a few pads changed. You might have to have a few screws tightened. You might have to have things bent a certain way to cover the hole. Because seriously, like that, they are not playable out of the box when you get an instrument from Amazon. Like, there'll be leaks, there'll be different problems to them. And then, but is it worth it? I think it is if you know that that's going to happen and you have a good shop and you pay, $50 for a soft repair. The guy knows what they're doing, fixes it, and then you get it back and it plays as nicely or sounds almost as good as a Yamaha or some other nice brand. Yeah. So I have to say, as a beginner, especially if you are a single parent, or even if you're, on a budget as a family, it's a really good way to introduce your kid to having an instrument and to see how are they going to take care of it. Are they going to take care of it well? Or if you want to play along with your child and encourage them when you're doing lessons or encourage them in how to practice, and you want to show them how to do things or whatever, and or you just want to practice yourself, like it's a really good way to bond with your kid by purchasing an instrument just simply that is like theirs. Or if, like, for instance, you haven't played for years and you miss it, this is a really good way to get back into it without having to pay a fee. And if you treat the instrument nicely, then chances are it's going to last a long time, at least a year. If it stops working within like a year or something and you're still playing it, then it's time to upgrade and purchase something decent that you would prefer. Like, you might want to just like upgrade. For me, I have two of everything typically. And they're not that expensive. Okay. Like, so basically the worth of some of the instruments are like $25 or something, but it's a backup so that if one goes down, I have another one, um, and like seriously, and that's the good way of dealing with it, I think, is like, okay, but you're probably wondering, well, I would rather spend out for a decent instrument to be able to, well, if you have that ability, then like good for you. Like, I'm happy for you. But it's just such a pain in the butt to have to deal for some of us with, filling out forms to try to get, renting an instrument. It's, also the ones that come from China and stuff, some of them sound amazing. Like, my trumpet sounds really good, as far as I'm a brand new person playing, so, but it sounds as good as the ones in the band that I play in. So those other people have like Bach, and I have this Jean Paul thing, and the tone is comparable. The tone is comparable. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, as far as that goes, it's worth it to me. I think I'm trying to say, like, this one, Jean Paul, this one I got, I think the list price was like $600 something. It's a Flugelhorn. I guess I can open it. But I got it for like $290 or something. So I got it for like half off. And like, I don't know much about the name or anything, but I think it's just like considered one of those kind of like off brands that people wouldn't recommend. And like, a lot of times people are like, oh, like, should I do this or should I get that? And if people don't know the brand, they're like, oh no, you're going to get taken and blah, blah. You know what? Like, all right, but you're a beginner. There's a few things about this instrument that I wish I could change up, but ultimately it helped me realize that I love playing the Flugelhorn, and and actually plays it has a nice tone. I can't really play it right now, but this is what it looks like. I mean, you can see my other videos, and if the tone doesn't sound good, it's because of my embouchure, because I'm new. But the thing is that I know from playing next to other people who also are new that you're not going to notice like this difference between my instruments and theirs as far as a huge difference in tone. Sometimes you will notice that theirs might be a little more like quieter, but that's just because I'm new and I just like, but as far as when I'm playing it, I know when tone is not good, at least I know that much, because I had another instrument here that was a well-known brand, and it sounded terrible compared to the off brands from China. And this one's a Kaiser, and I got this one, and this one was like wicked cheap, because like I got it like open box, like when the stuff comes from Amazon, it says, thanks to you, this has a second life. And when I say off-brand or what lesser known brand, I'm talking about stuff that you buy that people sell at wholesale, like from DHgate, Wish.com, eBay, Amazon, Walmart, those. And I know sometimes they'll sell nice instruments like Yamaha and stuff just be careful, because with DH Gate, sometimes they'll tell you that they're selling you a Bach, and it's not. It's like a counterfeit kind of thing. They're or they'll say they're selling you this other high-end name brand instrument, and that it's just not the case. So like, yeah, this is this instrument, and I really like it. It has a few different like color. I don't know. This is rose gold and like silver, but the sound, the tone, and the playability, the action on the valves are slow. That's one thing. But when you're brand new, that sort of thing isn't really as big of a deal. Although it will carry you as a novice. Once you get to be more experienced, that's gonna really hold you back. Okay, how slow that it is to respond. Of course, you can oil it and whatever all you want, but ultimately it's still going to be too slow for you. But at that point, it's time to upgrade. So like if you're playing professionally or still at, then it's time to upgrade. You might want to see what you can do to rent or do something like that. But as a novice or a beginner, it's not a bad way to get started. In fact, also, if you haven't played for years, it's a good way to reconnect with something you love to do and start it again. I also got this mouthpiece for like wicked inexpensive. It's an interesting one. It's my favorite mouthpiece. I got it for really cheap because the box was opened. You can get so many inexpensive mouthpieces, reeds, and everything for your mouthpieces if you look in the used section of Amazon. And I'm surprised not more people do this. This one came with a Yamaha mouthpiece. Whatever. Anyway, the mouthpiece does make a huge difference, I think. It really does. I don't know. I have to say, do I think it's worth it? Absolutely. Like, oh my gosh, hands down, it is worth to buy a cheap instrument. Don't get frustrated. Don't expect the instrument to work straight out of the box. It will probably work halfway, and then you're going to have to wait and get it taken care of. But also make sure if the repair is too much. Okay. So like, let's say the cost of the repair exceeds the value of the instrument, then you might want to consider returning it. Okay. So like if it far exceeds the value of the instrument, then that one didn't work out. And sometimes that happens. So for instance, one instrument I got was a sax, and I got it on a super big discount because somebody had used it for like a month, dropped it, and then literally dropped it. You could tell had been dropped and not treated very nicely. A few parts were kind of out of whack, and I brought it to the repair shop. There was a lot of leaks and stuff like that. Well, he fixed it. It cost in repairs, I think, about $40. He kind of put some new pads. He tightened some stuff up. He rebent things back to where they needed to be. He made sure this particular valve was covered that wasn't. And then all of a sudden, it was like amazing, like night and day. And but guess what? The cost of that instrument, if I hadn't gotten it used, was like the same price that I ended up spending overall. But here's the thing. Like overall, if I had purchased the instrument new, I still would have needed the adjustment. So it kind of, you have to weigh it. So you have to be like, hey, like, is this worth it? Or particularly the instruments like really prone to sound leaks on these kind of cheap instruments are like the flutes. One that is pretty notorious for sound leaks from what I've heard for flutes is Medini, although their rating is super high And I would say that all you have to do is replace like one pad or something, and then like that leak would just go away. So I would say that, it really just depends on the flute you get, because like sometimes they have amazing flutes and then sometimes you get the wrong one. Now, I love Medini for their pocket trumpets and their trumpets, and some of the other stuff they have is great. But I'm just letting you guys know that there's certain companies that are notorious for leaks. Like my friend and I both had leaks with our, she got a tenor sax that was cheap from Amazon. I got an alto. Both of us had leaks. But basically we both went to the shop, and now like clockwork, we know if we buy from Amazon or whatever, yep, you're going to be in the shop. But guess what? You don't have to spend every single month like a fee to rent an instrument. It's your opportunity to try something you never tried before. I really don't have time for the snobbiness that comes with people looking at somebody who is doing something new, and like they're like, oh, that's not really that great of a thing or whatever, because you're using this or that instrument. There's people in like third world countries that just take some plywood pieces and violin strings and create like violins for their students to give them a chance, and we're like upset over how something is unbranded. It's kind of ridiculous, because if you have something unbranded like this cello here, if I don't like something on it and I'm pretty crafty, I can strip it down. I can completely redo it and make something, and I will have had enjoyment out of that because I have learned something, and I'm going to be proud of it when it's finished. It's going to be amazing. I know that it's going to look beautiful, and even sound a hell of a lot better than if I never touched it, because I'm thinking of upgrading some of the pieces on it, like the tailpiece and the tuning pegs and stuff. Hey, seriously, if you get an inexpensive instrument wholesale, you really need to bring it to the shop. That is just my whole thing. Do not buy your kids something from Amazon or something for an instrument and expect them to go to lessons the next day and be fine. That's not fair. Sometimes that will happen and that's a pleasant surprise, but chances are it's like gonna need adjustment. So, I would allocate at least $40 towards adjustments, just normal maintenance and adjustments, that you would do on an instrument, which instruments often need them anyways. But like, let's say you got a Yamaha and it was, you rented it, it's going to play right away. But there's a whole bunch of y'all out there, and I know there is, who has shit crap credit, and you're like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden something happens, or your kid, drops an instrument or something happens and you're SOL. Don't panic. Just go and find a used one that's like $40-$50. And then, $20 after it's been in the shop, it's playing, beautifully. Well, if your kid can play, and it's temporary until you figure things out. I mean, this is a major pandemic. Inflation is crazy, and the prices of everything have gone up. These instruments, they really are a good way to get started, and they're so much fun. They're my guilty pleasure, personally a guilty pleasure, because I can just try something new that I otherwise couldn't. And I hope that helps everybody. I hope that helps you all. I can talk a blue streak. Oh, that's yeah, that's kind of good because everybody is quiet. So at least I have something to say. I will continue to fix this cello, and I will let you guys know, update like how it's going, and you'll get to see that creative process as to how I fix instruments. If you're wondering like where I got my skills as somebody who's a luthier, I've also made my own ukulele. Well, I just do whatever feels right, and it may not be right sometimes. They're not perfect. They're not, but the thing is that it's still a lot of fun, and some of my things come out looking really professional and some of them don't. And we'll find out what this one I think is going to look really unique and beautiful, and whatever. But will it look professional? Probably not. But I had a choice with this one. I was like, okay, you can go the professional route and stain it like a dark wood color. But I realized when I went into my paints and stuff, they didn't really have a dark stain, and I don't want to go out and purchase more paint or more stain because it's very expensive right now. And I already have a whole bunch of stain already not used because I bought it for a project and it didn't quite go with that project like I thought it would. So instead of wasting it, we're going to use it. So we're going to use what we have here and just make the best of things. And I think it's going to look really nice, and I'm excited about it. So I can't wait for you guys to see what it looks like. And I will always let you know if I'm doing something that's not standard practice, because sometimes I do things way differently than what other people would do. And there's a reason they don't do that, but this is what we can afford here and what I have on hand. And so it's kind of fun to see, like, what am I able to come up with what we have on hand? And hopefully that can inspire other people to take the plunge. If you see an old instrument that, obviously is all messed up, and think to yourself, well, hey, I have the skills. I could probably make that, something that I can enjoy looking at and playing. Then do it. It's yours. Unless it completely devalues the instrument or something like that, then you don't want to. In that instance, check out to see if what you have is a very expensive instrument. You don't damage it, because sometimes with antiques or things like that, you devalue them by trying to touch them up or fixing them. So always check before you mess with it. But with an instrument like this that I got from eBay that has been just sitting there because I'm a very visual person and I don't like the way it looks, it's not being used. Like, if you have one of these kicking around and you don't like the way it looks and it looks really sloppy, which it does, like some of the paints in certain parts are real sloppy looking, and I definitely could do better than that. Then yeah, stay tuned. So I'll show you how this comes out, and you might want to never do it, but maybe you'll learn with me that it looks like puke if I do this. I'll never do this again or something. Well, if that happens, that happens. So be it. But hopefully we can go on this journey together. Thank you for listening to me. And I hope that helps you guys. I hope it really does. I really, really think that it's a good way for a beginner to get started. And it's a lot of fun. So I'll see you guys all later. Bye, everybody.